Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl Sin, and today I have a somewhat of a different video. I have a book review. Today's book review is going to be on Dare to Lead by Bene Brown. You may or may not have heard of Bene Brown. She is a researcher, a professor, mother and wife, #1 New York bestselling author, of course, and she also has a video on Netflix that I recommend you go check out if you haven't, because I'm sure you will enjoy that just as much as this book. So I want to actually preface this video by saying that I recommend this book for anybody who's considering going into IO Psych, organizational development, organizational leadership, or any program kind of along the lines of that. This book is surely going to help you out. I promise. I wish I had this book on my lap before I started the program, mainly because it would have really helped with becoming more clear with my research project and also just to feel a little bit more connected. It's always nice to go into something having a little bit of information, and I think there's so many great topics on here that you're going to read in an academic setting, of course a lot more in depth further down the line, but in here you read it a little bit more leisurely. It's not so heavy in academia because of the fact that Bene is trying to, speak to and reach to a wide range of people. And that's something that I really enjoyed about this book. There's no large jargon, minus her little sayings such as rumble or too much stats or research involved. So anybody, any leader of any organization can pick this up and learn something from it. It's super duper insightful. So if you pick this book up, be prepared to read things about having tough conversations, clarity, being able to be vulnerable to create trust in a working environment, and most importantly, to create a culture that is open, that's honest, that's always forward thinking, that's supportive. Reading this book for me wasn't necessarily anything revolutionary because a lot of what is in the book I have read many articles on, but it reminded me why I fell in love with IO Psych, and it's really the connection of people and just helping workplace be a little bit more fun. We spent so much time there that it's kind of unjust to go there and just be like, all right, going to do my work and leaving. So we go to work more than we even see our own family members or loved ones. So I really believe in creating a workplace that is fruitful for everyone and for the organization as well. What really stood out to me in this book was the topic of vulnerability. Vulnerability is one of those words that we kind of shy away from, or most of us do shy away from, because it means emotions, it means showing our feelings, and it can be kind of uncomfortable in a work setting. But in this book, Brene really shares that vulnerability doesn't need to mean oversharing. It's just connection. Again, just being able to ask somebody, how's your day? Being able to have that open door to communicate with them. Research both in the book and outside of the book support that trusting work environments have benefits, so many great benefits. Employees are happier in the workplace, they're more likely to be performing better, and they're more likely to stay longer as well. Research is fun, I promise. Once you start the program, you're going to be all about it. I also really enjoyed that she shares a lot of real life examples in the book. With the vulnerability, she mentioned somebody came up to her after a meeting or after one of her speeches and said, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go tell everybody that we're not doing well. We're kind of losing money. And I don't know, we're just not doing that great. And that's where she told them, wait a second. Let's work through this a little bit more. I think a lot of us would think that our mind would go that way, but in the book, she really makes that clear that that's not her intentions at all by being vulnerable. She's not saying to go overshare or give information that's going to cause a frenzy. Instead, she's saying to be able to have those tough conversations with people, still be able to bring things up to them, but instead she's saying to be strategic about it. You don't need to overshare. It could be as simple as just saying, hello, good morning, how are you? Hey, you know what? I'm going through something right now, so if I seem a little different, just a heads up, just want to let you know. I also love what she talks about with daring leadership versus an armored leader. It's pretty much as it sounds. An armored leader is someone who's very closed off, doesn't really bother to connect, is just really looking out for themselves, only celebrates themselves, and just isn't really there to see others succeed. But if you're trying to be a leader, you should really shift from that mindset if you haven't already. She also talks about being a daring leader, which is really everything that sounds like. Being a leader who's going to celebrate others, who's practicing gratitude, celebrating small wins, who takes risks, versus a armored leader, which is the exact opposite of all those things. And another thing that really stuck out to me was being able to have tough conversations and becoming comfortable with having tough conversations by expressing empathy. In the words of Brene, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And that's a great message as well, right? To go ahead and just slash away at ambiguity, ensure that people know what their expectations are in their role, and that there is no questions. If they have questions, to be able to have that space to ask and not feel like they're going to be reprimanded for asking or there's any problems with asking, because we're all here to learn, we're all here to grow. I have to say that I resonated a lot more with the second half of the book than I did the first half. Again, just because a lot of the first half of the book went over those topics and I have some extensive knowledge on it. However, the second half, it has to do with more self-assessment and a little bit more of internal reflection. And I'm a huge fan of that, especially in a book like this when you're becoming a leader, because it's something that you have to work at every day. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be the best leader, right? It takes trial and error, and that's really what Bene says. Just get out there, try it, put yourself in the arena. You're probably going to fall, but just get yourself back up and keep going. You have people that cheer for you and you have people that don't. But at the end of the day, you just got to ignore those people that don't and keep doing you. And lastly, she also talks about living a value-based life and using them to really focus on your goals and your career. That's something that I truly 100% believe in. So I actually did the same exact practice that she talks about in her book, where you get a list of values and you have to narrow it down to 2 or 3. It's so tough and really, really difficult. But then once you get down to those 2 or 3, you question, are you really living your life based on the values that you have? For example, one of the things that I said was that I was creative, but I wasn't even really practicing anything creative. And I made sure to switch that around. And now that I live my life with a little bit more of a creative lens, not only am I sticking to it, but I feel so much more satisfied. I'm living by something that I really, really hold dearly to my heart. If what I talked about sounded interesting to you, pick up the book, and also you might want to consider going into IO, because what you hear in the book is what you're going to be reading about later on. I feel a lot braver to use these tools in my life, and I know you will too if you pick this up and take a read. I 100% recommend once again, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and I have a couple more books coming your way, so I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye!